Okay, folks, I need a little bit of a test run here. See how this works, maybe for future videos from this angle. Had a little bit of an issue with wanting to put this light where it needs to be for me to paint, and not in the way of everybody else being able to see the screen. And what I really would like is a way that I can see the comments, if there's any, of course, without having to put my glasses on and off every time. So this may actually not work as well as, say, something like that. Anyhow, so we've got this this digger that we're working on. That we worked on a little bit last night. Let's see if we can finish him up in the next hour or so that I have this morning. Let's drop a little bit of English uniform here. And the usual suspects, black and white. When this Vallejo paint was hard to find, I actually was using craft paint white and craft paint black as a filler. Hey Marcus, nice early morning crowd. Just finished watching last night's session, going through the scenarios. Well, the scenario part is good. The bad part is nobody showed up. So I basically conked out. And then, of course, at 4 o'clock this morning, I'm ready to get up. And I gave it another 30 minutes, and I'm like, nope, that's it. It's breakfast time. So, you're always going by 5:30 a.m. Well, that makes total sense to me. So what you're saying is if I paint in the mornings, you might join me. Well, we might have to do that. Might have to do that. There's worse things you could do. I started painting in the morning because when my daughter was little, I didn't know if I was going to have time to do my hobby. So I just took care of me first. And it just I'm not naturally a morning person. I just kind of became one. When I was in my 20s, I'm like, oh, it's a weekend. Okay, let's stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up at 11. Yeah, no. Not doing that anymore. Yeah, I might get used to have to do some morning painting because this Saturday morning, I thought I wasn't going to be able to paint, and I may not, I can't do a normal session because I got to go into work. So, what about this angle? Is it terrible? I can at least get the light over where it needs to be. We got model meeting tonight, so I probably will not be on tonight, even though I really don't want to go. I really don't feel like going. That's frequently a feeling that I get. Have to go all the way to town, and it prolongs when I can take my shower, which is the thing I look forward to just about the most each day. You do all of my admin work before I need to start. Crap, that didn't solve that. I still need to use my glasses. Before I need to start Tiana's breakfast at 7:40. Sometimes you paint. Angle's good. Actually better to see your painting than the normal angle. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure at this point, at least in the last 6 months, more people are interested in the commentary and the verbal diarrhea than the actual painting. I'm just doing it just to kind of stay engaged, Well, we have a few unboxings coming in the next week or so. So I'm not going to spoil anything other than that. I talked myself into getting something from going into those scenarios yesterday. So it'll probably be something. It's something that either you have. You haven't told me you had it, but we'll see. It'll be pretty cool. I think you'll appreciate it. And I'm probably going to do exactly what I did last time in the last unboxing. I'll film the unboxing, not post it, not post the video, and then do the live building of whatever it is. There's a clue. It's building, live building, and then when I'm done, I have the finished thing to show with the unboxing. And that way, I'm not like not putting this thing together and doing all this editing and uploading the video and then doing another video on top of the other one, you know. That's what I like, man. When you're around me, I like people with their head down. don't look don't look at your Lord. Oh man. Yeah, I went to bed, you know. I was already in bed like by 9. I was like, no point in struggling. You know, these Australian figures are great, but I'll tell you what, it's the Airfix figures that are blowing me away because I've looked at these things for decades. You know, these Australian guys are brand new to me, but I've looked at these Airfix figures for decades since I was a kid, and it never occurred to me that I'd be painting them. I just thought that they weren't worthy. That's not what they're for. Fill in the blank, you know. So it's just kind of a thrill to be able to use something that I didn't think was able to be used. I don't know. That's just kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Yeah, this mount is super flexible. I decided the other day when I picked everything up, I lowered it a little bit because it's all the way at the very top where it's supposed to be. I lowered it maybe 8 inches. All right, now we got the little khaki thing on his head, which I believe we did. We did use khaki for this. So I think the Bren gun, I'm not going to do the polished barrel, the chrome barrel. I think that's a little later. Thankfully, I would have done it. It just, you know, it looks weird, and it is one of those things like, why is the barrel silver? Well, you know, you have to explain things. I spend too much of my work time explaining things to people that don't listen, so I really didn't want to take part in any more of that. But I wasn't able to fall asleep again this morning, so I was looking through one of the Facebook groups I subscribe to that's called something like Airbrush for Beginners by Experts. I stumbled across it. I didn't stumble across it until I mean, I guess I'm still a beginner, but I'm not, you know, like, I'm a beginner with a lot of experience. And there were some interesting things in it that I can't wait to try. I gave those 2 North Africa Airfix sets that stand out better than other Airfix ranges, including the Newer British figures. Of the old ranges, I like Revell the best. Okay. Well, we will see. I really want to paint all of these guys I have on the table before I move on to anybody else, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. I may have to stop at like a squad of these guys, build the foxholes. We're going to do the foxholes this weekend. So if you want to see how I do foxholes, which I've never done before, but I have extreme confidence in my abilities. Sometimes you got to think outside the box, and they're going to look like this. They're going to match the cover of this. So we're going to make them so you can fit these pennies inside of them, and that way, you have a foxhole that is sticking out of the ground, but at least this depth here is lost. In other words, it's making up for some of it. If you sit this on a stand that also has a hole, now they're even more higher. Now they're even higher yet. So I think that's how I'm going to do them. It might be a pain to cut out the inside, but we'll see. I have a Dremel, but I'm so much more comfortable with the X-Acto knife. The Dremel makes such a mess. I'm not used to making messes. The problem with making a mess is then you got to clean it up. So, for the newer plastics, you'd like Pegasus, Strelitz, and Orion Haron. I never heard of Orion Haron. I didn't go to that temple when I was in Egypt. That is the temple of Orion Haron. That looks like, save a couple of pennies for Orion Haron. No, that's Sharon. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Maybe it's French. Orion. Orion Haron. I like them all. I like them. There's the only figures that consistently are like, what the hell are these people smoking? Is Atlantic. Some of the Atlantic stuff is just like a combination of guys that are too thin with these awkward poses, like I want to be in a parade. I'm like, this isn't a parade, dude. With like separate helmets, right? They got like Africa Corps or something like that with like separate helmets, and they don't fit right. Even AB figures, the people love AB figures. Okay, and I've got some AB figures, and they're pretty cool. They've got a lot of desert rat guys. They're North Africa guys. Let's see if we can do this. Have their steel pot helmets, and they don't fit right. Like the steel pot helmet should fit, like the brim should be here, right? Otherwise, it's not protecting anything. And they have it pushed back, like that hat that what's his name used to wear, Boy George, right? Hat sitting on the crown of their head. Like it's not protecting your forehead. It just looks weird. And they all have like really, really bushy hair. I'm like, were there no regulations to getting haircuts in the Second World War in Britain? You go look at them. Go look at the AB guys. And the AB sculpting is great, but it's like, they got their helmet like tilted on their head. It just looks awkward. I have one combat miniature or two combat miniature guys that are that way, but everybody else is like proper, So, yeah. Go look at those AV guys. I was looking at them, And there's like a lack of things being produced. Like, I was looking for those boys anti-tank rifles. Man, it's impossible to find those. I'm like, Marcus can't find those Indian guys. Certainly I should be able to find them. Nope. A lot of these companies are like, okay, we're going to make 200, and when they sell out, we're going to wait exactly 5 years before we fire the factory back up. It's like, man, you need to make things, man. People can't buy stuff if you don't make them. Yeah, I don't know why it's so difficult to get the British Commonwealth tin helmets correct. The Airfix guys do them perfectly. I mean, there's nobody who does the Airfix guy that does the tin helmets better than the Airfix guys. They sit how they're supposed to be on their head, not tilted back, not shaped like a pith helmet. You know, weird. You'd think it'd be like a really easy helmet to get right. All right, let's get a little bit of these metallic lead belcher now. Lead belcher is a little too bright. Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors it is. And this is the guy named Sloan. Spelled Sloan. Just one N. Otherwise it'd be too slow. Just a tiny little bit. There's not much of this stuff showing. All right, we'll do his little water bottle next. Yeah, so I looked at those scenarios and I'm like, okay, there's some stuff that's in some of those scenarios I wouldn't mind reproducing on the battlefield. Foxholes is one of them. Wire is the other one. And yeah, I think I'm going to use those scenarios for inspiration because sometimes it's like, oh, this is a really cool force, but oh, they have no infantry. Like, well, what's the point? You ran out of your Vallejo Dark Earth texture, so I'm out of figures. I'm out on figures until I refill, focusing on my vehicles, Panzer II and North Africa Wreck. I pulled out my North Africa Wreck the other day. I got a Humber Mark II. That's what I'm going to use it as. So maybe you'll inspire me to. Well, I put it away again. It's one that I got from one of the estate sales that I couldn't get the turret to move, and it got damaged in me trying to break it apart. But yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to just play with it the way it is. I gotta have the turret. Have to have a turret that moves, or then I have to have a counter on there. And I'm like, no, we need a movable turret, so we're gonna make it a wreck. So you use a paste, use the Vallejo paste that already has a color in it. Is it shiny? Because I use one that doesn't have color and then I paint it, but I don't ever seal it because I can't imagine sealing the ground texture. That's getting a little too close to the other handiwork that you did. I don't want to have to undo anything. It is still available, right? It's not like you're running out of something that's not available anymore. Yeah, you should stock up on that stuff before those clowns decide to stop making it. Oh, it's not an environmentally viable material. Like it's 3 ounces, man. Not shiny, but I still dry brush it. Just figured I would start with the darkest color. Well, that makes sense to me. I base these guys with what is it? English uniform, and I would not have done that. I would have not done that had I not gone to. There's an article on Flames of War on their website that shows like a triad of different colors that they did and what the finished stand looks like when you dry brush one thing and the other one on top of it. So I'm really good with colors, but I'm not so good about layering dry brushes. Sometimes it's like, you know, like maybe the top two colors are good, but the bottom's the wrong one. And you don't know that until you've done all three. You're like, crap, then you go back and do it again. So I went with the stuff that's already been tried and there's pictures of it. And I could have done it myself too, but I'm like, sometimes you have to delegate things. So in this time, I decided to, fall upon. But there's all kinds of really interesting things inside the Flames of War website, even though I don't play Flames of War and never plan on. Heck, I don't even do 15s, but there's a lot of stuff of value there. Or at least, take it like with a grain of salt. Now, this guy has a chin strap on this side for the hat, but not on the others. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to be having a chin strap and it's just attached here and nothing else. So we're going to have to paint one on the other side, which isn't a big deal. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I don't need too much paint for this. I might as well refresh this one. Okay, it's going right to his chin there. Okay. And now we're going to come in and we can do like a light khaki's fine. I'm not even going to start with this. I think this might be too dark. It's available, waiting for Michigan Toy Soldier to run their sale, and then you're placing a paint supply order. So why is that like your go-to place? I've never bought from them before. I don't have anything against them. I'm just, they got a lot of stuff in stock or. My preference really in ordering things is from Amazon. And only because they keep you in track on when things are coming, even though their prices aren't necessarily the best. eBay is probably number two again because you get an update of when things are coming. You're gonna have to pay for shipping anyway, so there's nothing worse than buying something sitting on somebody's. It's sitting in some email unresponded to. Okay, there's that. Then a little bit on this side. All right, now let's do some socks, and we have English uniform here already, right? Yeah, that's the one. Used to be a lot more people on in the mornings because there were slackers that weren't going to work. While the rest of us were going to work, they were just sitting at home playing in their pajamas. They seem to have good prices, plenty of stock. And they always have a few models I want as well. I like this time, I'm going to order the Ultima Ratio Chindits. We'll be sending you a spruce sometime. Hey, hold off on that. I don't need to go to that theater just yet. I mean, I want to do everything, but, Chindits. What did I figure out? The Australians, did Australians and Indians fight together? Because, man, you could have a lot of fun talking those guys back and forth. I think they did in Malaya. Would you move your troops on up? What? What's that guy going on about? I don't know. Early War Miniatures, I was on their site the other day. They make all kinds of different Indian heads, like different like turban styles and stuff. They make like Sikhs and at least three different kind of Indian heads. I thought that was pretty cool. That one guy that does that blog about Malaya has some really pretty pictures that came up the other day with his palm trees. I saved his page because that's going to be inspiration for whenever I do palm trees, and I'm probably going to do them in clumps. I'm certainly going to do bamboo in clumps. You can't get through bamboo. You can't cut your way through bamboo. You've got to like use artillery for that and stand back. You know, use artillery and stand back. But I've got two really nice desert mats. Nice looking. So that's what we're gonna focus on. I am really looking forward to doing the foxholes, considering the last ones I finally painted after having them for 20 something years turned out really well. I think these will turn out even better. I got high hopes for them, and it's a good use for all the scrap MDF that I have. I don't have a lot of scrapped MDF, but from doing the roads and stuff. Hong Kong, they use bamboo for building construction scaffolding. Yeah, we were thinking about putting some behind our house, but it'll take over. But we don't want to see the people that are building right behind the house with potentially two-story buildings looking into our property. The frames that they're building, the framing in the other neighborhood is getting closer and closer. So one of these days they're going to be building right behind the house, and it's going to be really noisy. And these jokers start at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Pisses my wife off big time. Good morning, Fred. And we're painting before we go to the salt mines. Good morning, or I should say, Hage, or however that's pronounced. All right. You go with stockings. Yeah. Everything else. I was about to say everything that the saying I always like to say. Everything I know about drugs, I learned from watching Narcos Mexico. Everything I learned about Sweden, I learned from the Swedish chef or going to IKEA. Have been hobbying a bit as well with some Hearts of Iron 4 while waiting for the glue and paint to dry. Finally done all Great War veteran German infantry. Oh, early war or a steel helmet. Cork helmet or steel helmet? Hearts of Iron. So, from what I can tell, most people that play war games like strategic war games, like Hearts of Iron. And I don't know if Hearts of Iron is similar to a couple of those free games that are available on browsers. I don't even know what they're called, but they're similar to Europa Universalis, where you have this guy and you want to move from one province to another. So you get this number line basically of his travel, and as time goes on, he's moving along the number line. And when he gets to the end, a fight actually happens. But if he gets interrupted from another distance, even though he's 99% of the way to the other province, he'll ends up and he gets attacked first. He'll fight back in his first province, and he never went anywhere. And I find those kind of annoying because it's like, like it's one of those the rug gets pulled out from under you kind of things. Can't go wrong with a Swedish chef, to be honest with you. 14, 15, but since I accidentally painted Stahlhelms in the first batch, they're going to be vets in the early army. Okay. I want to say is it the Hungarians in the Second World War that use a helmet similar to the German First World War helmet? The steel helmet. Yeah, it's shaped differently. I think the Spanish do too. It's like a German style helmet. It's like the World War II one, but not. It's like narrower. It's less round. In some ways it looks better, in some ways it doesn't look as good. It's the same but different. I want to say the Hungarians have a helmet that's like that. Their World War II helmet is similar to the World War One German helmet. Well, that's good that the Swedish chef wasn't created here, and it's like insulting to Swedish people. That's not what the intent is. I don't think that's what the intent is. Just like many years ago, they were like claiming that Speedy Gonzalez was to make fun of Mexican people. I don't think that's what it was intended to, but okay, be offended if you want to. Yeah, point-to-point movement in games is somewhat of an issue. Yeah, it's just I understand how it works. It's just another one of those no you don't moments, and it's like I have too much of that. It happens at work. You know, I don't want to volunteer to do that stuff for free. But most people that play war games like to play strategic war games. I'm not one of them. I prefer tactical stuff. Um, you just it's all about the narrative. That doesn't mean I haven't played strategic stuff. I'm just saying that yeah, you get two flavors. You get stuff like Axis and Allies that you can really beat the crap out of the computer with, or stuff in between that. There's this game on that was spoken very highly of, and I can't remember what the hell it's called, but it's they claim it's a 4X game. So you're like managing stuff, you're building things in production, you're exploring the space because it's a space game. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with an S. It came out a couple of years ago. And, I decided to get it. And because it's on Steam, if you only play it for a little bit of time, you get your money back, which is actually a nice way to do it. So if somebody creates crap, something that just doesn't work for you, you don't like the interface, you don't like the graphics, it was sold to you with false pretenses or different pretenses that you thought you can get your money back, right? And I forget what the hell it's called, but I ended up getting it and absolutely hated it. It was just it made me do things I'm not interested in doing. Stellaris? Is it Stellaris? I don't think it's Stellaris. Yeah, just a funny accent. How we sound to English speakers. He's always been a hit over here. Well, that's excellent. I'm good to hear. Maybe Sweden still has a sense of humor. Excellent. Okay, well this digga done. Well, we got some time, and I like to wait for these guys a little bit before I put the varnish on them. Varnish makes it sound like it's always shiny. Oh, missed something. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we're going to move on to the next chap. See, Stellaris sounds like it's a space game. The game doesn't sound like a space game. The name of it. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. It got rave reviews. Rave reviews. So just because something has rave reviews doesn't mean you're going to like it. Case in point was Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I just want to play humans with other humans, not like some 1/3 treant, half orc, 1/16 drow elf once removed. Like, dude, can't you just be a freaking human? Like, fighting uglies, Okay, 4X game space. That's all I'm going to search for. It might be distant. No, it's not Distant Worlds. Is it Distant Worlds? Let's see. Well, that sounds like it's is. It's none of these. None of these. I figured it would be like, remember that old game Empire? I had a friend of mine that freaking loved that thing. It's none of these. Let's see. And it's one of those that you should be able to play the game and figure it out in 15 minutes. If you're not getting anywhere after 15 minutes, it's not laid out correctly. Like, for instance, pretty much anything Blizzard does is that way. I'm a Blizzard fan. Yeah, I don't like everything they've made, but their interface is intuitive. Things are in the right menus where they should be. It's easy to figure out. If you get some other companies just do things that are just like makes my head hurt, you know. Yeah, it's not Stellaris because Stellaris sounds like it's a space game. Okay, all right, we're gonna have to do more Google fooing. Let's see here. 4X game exploring worlds. What else does it have in it? It has political stuff in it too. Political, and the graphics are kind of retro in some ways. Man, I can't. Let's see if it's still here on the top games. A lot of these articles just have so much advertising that are just. You know, one game I really liked, and I wish it wasn't so glitchy, and I can never remember what it's called. It's something like Empires at War, and it's a Star Trek game, and I am not a Star Trek fan by any stretch of the imagination. But it was like ship combat, and it was cool. I really, really liked it. But it was glitchy as hell. Definitely not Stellaris. And apparently it's not Distant Worlds. Shadow Empire. Shadow Empire. And it might be a game that I actually enjoy, but and it looks kind of like this. See, you hear Shadow Empire, I'm like, that's not space. That's not the first thing you think of. So, anyhow, you need to. I used to love 4X space games, but there simply hasn't been anything good made since Master of Orion 2 and Alpha Centauri. That is the 90s. I remember this space game I used to love, and it was on the Sega Genesis called Star Control. Yeah, and it's hokey. But, in 1993 or 1992, it was a fun freaking game. And I didn't know they made multiple other versions, but it was on the Sega Genesis when I played it. Okay, next lad. Let's do a classic Airfix dude. Let's do this guy standing up with the Enfield. And let's trim. Where's my trimmer? Shadow Empire. I was like, what is it called? I forgot already. Shadow Empire. People raved about that game. And maybe if somebody walked me through it. Like one game that people raved about, and it looks like ass. I'm going to be honest with you. It looks like ass. I'm not much of a retro gamer. Is Armored Commander 2. But I loved Patton's Best. And we used to play it like double solitaire way back in the day, talking about the mid 90s. So there was that tie in. Like, I already knew how to play the game, I just needed to know where the things were. And Arbor Commander basically expands Patton's Best all the way into, where you can play everybody, anything. And I wish it had better. I wish it had better graphics. I really wish it had better interface font. I wish the font wasn't so retro. It reminded me of like the font that's on one of the first Apple computers ever. It was very clunky looking. I can deal with the graphics being clunky. And even though it looks like I don't have my glasses on or my contacts are out and I'm looking at it at a distance, but I wish the font was what didn't look like that. But it's a solid game. It's got errors right off the bat. It's one of those things where I said when you know too much about the Second World War, you can't enjoy things. Well, you can't enjoy things about the Second World War if you know too much about it. But we're going to use khaki for the pants on this guy. And I'm like, okay, well, let me start with a unit on the Eastern Front in Barbarossa. And I want to use a unit that has Czech 35s, right? Which there was only one, the 6th Panzer Division. Czech 35s. And you get your little platoon, and you're in a Czech 35, and there's another Czech 35, there's another Czech 35, and there's a Czech 38, and they didn't serve together. So I'm like, I can't play that anymore. I didn't even do one mission. Like, I can't play that. Like I just know too much. I can't enjoy. I can't enjoy those type of things. So I play games for the purpose of like learning more about the subject matter. Hey, that's the flavor nerd I am. Everybody's a freaking nerd of some kind or another. That's mine. I want to learn more about the subject matter I'm playing in. And if I'm not, if I feel like I already know more about the subject matter than this game, than the people that put this game together, doesn't mean if I do or not. Is if I feel that I do, then I lose interest in playing it. I'm like, you guys should be the experts. So, but it's a pretty cool game. But it's definitely very retro. I wish they would redo it with better font graphics. If it was better font, just put everything in freaking Arial Narrow or something, But then there's the other extreme. There's these games now that have such a high resolution that the print on them is so small, and you can't even make out where the print is. So that's the other extreme. Got to start the breakfast routine. Enjoy the painting and catch you next time. Okay, that's pretty much how I find new games nowadays. I get interested in a period, then try to find games that matches that era. One of the games that I really like, there's a couple of games that have come out by, is it Slytherin? I get Slytherin and Matrix mixed up. But there's a game by Slytherin. There's a couple of them that they can be simple, but if they're like elegant, some of my favorite games that I played on computer are by them. And one of them is, I actually liked Battle Academy. I liked Battle Academy a lot. It looked very cute, had the right interface. It was pleasing to look at. I really like that Battle of the Bulge and that Drive on Moscow thing that they did, where it's it's like a counter game, but it's area movement. Those were done very well. I wish there was like 40 of those games to play, because I never get tired of them. As a matter of fact, I've unlocked almost everything, and you can play them on the console too. I bought them for the PC. I bought them for the console. Like, bought the same game again because there's only two. There was a third one, like a Desert Fox one for Alamein, and it lasted long enough that I found out about it, bought it, and then the 64-bit apocalypse happened, and when was that, 2011 or something like that? 2011, 2012? Man, maybe it was later than that. Whenever it happened, I lost it. Yeah, it was later than that. This is during the time period I didn't have a computer. I was gaming on the iPad. But those games were great. I don't know if they sold well, but and I thought they looked really good. Like they can be basic looking games, but just don't have like really chunky graphics. Like I'm not interested in Minecraft. Like I'm already nearsighted and I see shit like that anyways. So I don't want to relive that crap. They need to be clear. Think about the nearsighted people. And that Battle of Britain one that just came out has been recommended to me. I didn't realize that it was a Slytherin product, so I'm probably going to get it at some point. But I'm afraid that there's not going to be a lot of depth to it. It's going to be like the Wings of War on computer, which is done really well, but it's like there's like not enough scenarios. Like okay, I played all of them. I've already played both sides, all the scenarios, multiple times. But one of those browser games like Hearts of Iron, it wasn't like Hearts of Iron, but it has some of that strategic stuff on there. I was playing on a browser several years ago, and you get random, I forget what it's called. There's a million of them on the browsers, and they get you to like buy stuff with it. And I don't play anything that you can play for free. I don't spend money for anything you can play for free. Because by the time you spend money, you're like tired of it, right? So, at least I am. And I got randomly assigned a country in it, and I got Norway. I'm like, all right, cool. I like the temperature there, so I started playing Norway, and I just kind of had it in the background while I was doing other stuff. But you got to go and like check back at an hour when this thing is being produced. And I was producing tanks, and it's one of those things where I'm sure a lot of people are playing, but they're not playing. So you can like, if you're on it all the time, you could use your advantage against them. So I had like taken over northern part of Russia and come in around Germany and stuff like that. But I'm like, okay, well that was fun for a few weeks, right? Because you can't play it in an afternoon. But I don't see these. I don't see. I'm not one of these people that can just continue playing a game forever and ever. Like League of Legends has been going on for how long? Ever since Warcraft 3 came out, probably. And there's people that still play that. And I had this one guy that I knew in real life that was really into it. And I'm like, all right, I'll try it out. Oh, it looks pretty cool. All right. And I got disconnected from playing on my internet, and I got shunned. The game shunned me. And basically, like, I couldn't play it for a day or something happened where I was, being punished for the internet disconnecting the game. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck you. Won't play this again. Sometimes the internet's just unreliable. One time that it happened, oh, you're a disconnector. You now can't whatever for some period of time. Like you had ran your mouth and said you said something vitrolic. Wow, I've never used that word before. Right? Did I use that correctly? You said something vitrolic on Facebook. You got banned for 30 days or something like that. It was basically the same thing. Like, dude, my internet just flickered. Nope. You're in the doghouse with the other Nazis. I'm like, okay, we're not playing this. You want me to spend money on this game? Screw you. Shadow Empire. Yeah, it sounds like a magic game, not a space game. The other game, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's also by Slytherin. I really like it. It's for like Renaissance stuff. Hey, you could play Gustavus Adolphus on there. I forget what it's called. I really like that game. Oh, Pike and Shot. I really like Pike and Shot. And it looks good too. And it's simple. It's, well, it's simple-ish looking. It's probably drawn the sprite with this. Are they even considered sprites? Well, the graphics look like they're done by the same people that did Battle Academy, which honestly I like how it looks. Looks like a little miniatures game. Kind of a precursor to Field of Glory, the Field of Glory stuff. We're going to have to finish these pants and then we're done for the morning. We got to go get ready for the salt mines. But it got me to try this angle, which I kind of like it. It's just before 7 in the morning here. Maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. All I need is a couple people to come on. We don't have to have like a huge freaking show, but getting a little bit too much contrast there. It's looking cool, but just doesn't look. It's almost looking like camouflage patterns. I'm like, I like how it looks, but it's not. It's supposed to be one color. That'll be the next thing we'll try. Probably not this year. Next year we'll do some SS or something like that. With some of those crazy camouflage patterns they had. Not crazy, but intense. Sure we can knock them out of the park. Do a video and make it look easy. Okay, folks. Well, happy whatever day this is, Tuesday. We will be back. I don't think I'll be back this evening because I got a model meeting tonight. But yeah, we'll just keep plugging away in the desert here. All right, folks. Enjoy.